Good morning, everybody. We are delighted to welcome you all here in a normal, hot, muggy Washington day. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's air-conditioned here, and the engineers are on site. They'll keep us cool. So I look forward to spending the day with you. Thank you all for coming. My name is John Hamre. I'm the president here at CSIS, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you for this conference, and very, very happy that the Vice Foreign Minister could join us today. The old tradition is you had to get permission from the emperor to leave Tokyo, and I think that's still a custom that happens. And so he had to get special permission from the government to be able to come. And we're delighted that Csis is with us today, and thank you for being here. He is going to say some words of welcome to all of us. He's a well-known figure to Americans who have expertise in Japan, but he doesn't spend enough time in Washington himself. So we're grateful that he's here today and is going to be sharing a few words with us. Special thanks to Charles Rivkin, who's going to be our keynote speaker. I've just my first opportunity to meet him, and I can now understand why he has such a dynamic reputation in the State Department. This is kind of a little bit of an artificial conference topic, looking to the past. In 1964 was in some sense a very pivotal year here in America, but my heavens, it really was kind of a remarkable coming out period in Japan. Japan became a member of the OECD, a very significant acknowledgement. It was within only 20 years to have Japan become one of the leading club members of the developed nations. Japan had introduced to the world stage the Shinkansen. This was 50 years ago. Interesting. Now, I think if you were to take, I think there are like 300 Shinkansen trains a day, been operating for 50 years. If you take all of the time that a Shinkansen, the entire fleet for 50 years has shown up late, it was less than my train trip back from New York last week. I mean, it took me 2 hours to get to Washington, 2 hours late. I think the entire fleet for 50 years has not been an hour late altogether. It's a remarkable story, and it's still one of the leading technologies in the world, and it's 50 years ago. It was also 50 years ago that Japan hosted the Olympics. And Japan is preparing to host again the Olympics. And it's again one of these signal statements that this remarkable country is able to pull together in such a wonderful way. And it was a milestone at that time. And so we're looking back not to dig out the nuances of history, but to pull out the themes of the future. And I think that's what today is going to be about. This is about Japan now rediscovering itself. The last several years have not been so good. It's not because the foundation in Japan has been flawed. It's not. It still has a remarkable workforce, a tremendous sense of cohesion in society, a sense of shared purpose. Those of you that have visited Japan after Fukushima, a country that was already the most energy efficient country in the world and was able to accommodate a contraction of electricity production by 25%, and life still proceeded normally. It was remarkable. This is an absolutely remarkable country. Its politics hasn't always been so supportive of this great country, but we're seeing this change now, and the energy that's coming forth out of the Abe administration is really the foundation and the reason for this conference. So even though we're going to use the reference of the past, it's really to be a focus for our future and how we're thinking about this remarkable country and its role. So we're delighted to have you here. Matt, do I say further words of introduction? I think, I don't think I would be a diminishment if I tried to prolong any longer your hearing from Senior Vice Foreign Minister Csis. He is a familiar figure. He has been working with us for many years, and we're delighted that someone of his reputation and standing was willing to come. So would you, with your applause, please welcome and greet Senior Vice Foreign Minister Csis.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dr. Hamre, for your kind introduction. I'm delighted to be here. Before I start, let me express my deep condolences over the passing of Ambassador Howard Baker. Ambassador Baker was the United States ambassador to Japan when we reached the 150th anniversary of Japan-US relationship, a true milestone. He contributed profoundly to the enhancement of Japan-US alliance and the friendship and goodwill among the peoples of two countries. I renew my sincere respect for the achievement of Ambassador Baker and pray that he may rest in peace. 50 years ago, in 1964, Japan hit a large turning point. In that year, Japan joined the OECD, the first Shinkansen line opened, and Tokyo hosted the Olympic Games. At that time, I was only 5 years old, but still I remember what happened on the day of the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. Everybody, every Japanese, 100 million people of Japanese, all celebrated the Olympic Games. Of course, my family did. My family went out to attend the opening ceremony, left me home alone. So still I remember that. But anyway, after that, the large growth in Japan's economy was palpable. In that year, 1964, Japan was still a poor country, but thanks to financing from the World Bank, we were able to build advanced infrastructure such as the Tokaido Shinkansen and the extensive highway system. This bold investment created the groundwork for Japan's jump and economic growth. While it is said that deflation caused the Japanese economy to stagnate these past 15 years, it is my belief that we, Japanese statesmen, should bring Japan back to full vitality. In the same way that a stronger United States is benefited to Japanese, stronger Japan is beneficial to the US as well. This was only the most important point my brother, Prime Minister Abe, and President Obama discussed during their meeting shortly after the inauguration, February last year. With this understanding, Prime Minister Abe began efforts to strengthen defense capabilities and vitalize Japan, bringing back Japan's energy and thus strengthening the Japan-US alliance. In terms of the economy, Prime Minister Abe forged Abenomics. He vowed that no vested interest will remain immune from my drill, sending a clear message. On June 24th, a new Japan growth strategy with concrete plans was released by the cabinet. The Abe administration strongly believes that reaching an agreement on TPP is the key link to the economic strategy. This bold economic strategy presents a great opportunity for American corporations as well. In the midst of all these efforts, we are encouraged by the fact that this Back to the Future seminar on Japan is held in the United States, particularly at the famous and influential CSIS. It is extremely significant that we are sharing our views today into Japan's past 50 years and envisioning Japan's 50 years from now. My mission for the coming 50 years is to help Japan grow stronger and, together with the United States, help bring about a better world. I believe that all of you who have gathered here today share in this conviction. I'm honored to have all of your support for the future. Thank you very much.